Imagine the market drops 5%. Do you panic and sell right away? Do you check your portfolio like it's Instagram, refreshing it 47 times a day? Or maybe you stay the course and trust the long term. If any of that sounds familiar, congratulations. You already fit into one of the classic investor types, even if you didn't know it. And here's the fun part. Some of the investors we're about to talk about aren't really investors at all. They're just speculators, risk lovers, the people who treat the stock market like a casino with better lighting. So in this video, we're breaking down every major type of investor, so you can finally figure out which one you are, and maybe even learn which one you shouldn't probably be. Welcome to Martik Finance, where we explain investing concepts in a simple way. But first of all, a quick disclaimer. This is not financial advice. Alright, first up, the value investor. This is probably the calmest person in every market crash. While everyone else is panicking, they're quietly shopping with a grocery list Warren Buffett would salute. They hunt for amazing companies trading way below what they're actually worth, like finding a $100 bill selling for $60. They ignore hype, memes, and hot trends. Instead, they read boring annual reports for fun, calculate intrinsic value, and buy only when there's a huge margin of safety. Time horizon? Forever. They'll happily wait years for the market to wake up and agree with them. Their whole philosophy can be summed up in one line: buy great companies for cheap. Next up is the growth investor, the person who's always looking for the next big winner. They chase companies that are expanding fast, revenue climbing, user base exploding, and tons of future potential. These are the people who love tech stocks, AI breakthroughs, and any company that's shaking up an industry. If it's innovative or disruptive, they're interested. They don't care if a stock is cheap today, they only care if the company is going to multiply its value in the next 5 years. Think Tesla in 2015, Amazon in 2005, or whatever AI monster is printing money right now. They'll happily pay 80 times earnings if revenue is growing 50% a year. Their mindset is simple. The biggest returns come from the fastest growers. Now let's talk about the GARP Investor, growth at a reasonable price. This is the middle ground between value and growth. They want companies that are growing fast, but they're not willing to throw money at something wildly overpriced. They look for businesses with solid growth, fair valuations, and a nice balance between risk and reward. Nothing too boring, nothing too crazy, just smart, reasonable picks. Next is the dividend, or income investor, the person who wants their portfolio to pay them. They're all about cash flow and love companies that deliver steady, reliable dividends. Think of them as landlords, but instead of tenants, their renters are giant boring companies like Coca-Cola or Johnson & Johnson. They hunt for solid businesses with growing dividends, low payout ratios, and decades of raises, also known as the famous dividend aristocrats. Imagine you have $500,000 invested at an average 4% yield. That's $20,000 of pure cash hitting your account every year. Now, if you are really interested in an exhaustive comparison between growth and dividend stocks, I made a whole video breaking it down. Link in the description. Go watch it next. The next type is the index fund investor, the set it and forget it personality. They're not trying to beat the market, predict the market, or obsess over every little dip. Instead, they keep things simple. They buy total market ETFs or index funds, automate their contributions, and avoid timing the market altogether. Honestly, they might check their portfolio once a year, if they remember. That's exactly how the greatest investor of all time says beginners should start. Warren Buffett's direct advice: consistently buy a low-cost index fund, and over time you'll do better than almost everybody. His famous bet proved it. A simple index fund crushed a team of hedge fund geniuses over 10 years. So if you're ever stuck wondering what to do, just listen to the Oracle of Omaha and dollar cost average into the market. It's boring, but it works like magic. Now we've got the momentum investor, the person who jumps on what's already moving. They don't care about earnings or balance sheets, they only buy what's already blasting off. Nvidia in 2023, Tesla in 2020, Whatever's ripping 10% a week, they're riding it. Rule number 1. The trend is your friend. Rule number 2. Get out the second it bends. Quick disclaimer, this is way more speculation than classic investing. Most professionals lose money doing this long term, so I would probably say, don't try this at home. Next up is the contrarian investor, the person who goes against the crowd. When everyone else is panicking and selling, they see opportunity and buy. When the market is hyped and everyone is rushing in, they step back and stay cautious. They live by Warren Buffett's famous line, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." Think Michael Burry in 2007. While banks and ratings agencies partied, he dug into mortgage bonds, saw the housing bubble was pure garbage, and bet against it. Everyone laughed until the entire system collapsed, and he turned a few million into billions. So now we have the day trader, who treats the market like a Las Vegas casino that opens at 9:30 a.m. They're in at the opening bell, out before dinner, sometimes 50 trades a day. Charts, volume spikes, 1-minute candles, and 3 monitors are their religion. Personally, I don't even call this investing. It's pure trading. And the truth nobody wants to hear. The vast majority lose money, often a lot. Those flashy Lambo accounts on Instagram? 9 times out of 10, they're quietly selling you a $997 course instead of actually trading. So yeah, it looks attractive. But for most people, it's the fastest way to become broke. Now meet the options trader, the day trader's wilder cousin who turned the volume up to 11. While day traders chase stock moves, options traders use contracts to control huge positions with tiny money and an expiration clock ticking like a bomb. One right bet can multiply your account by 10 in days. One wrong bet? You lose everything you risked. Michael Burry didn't just short the housing market, he did it with credit default swaps, basically options on steroids, and turned millions into billions while the world called him crazy. Most options traders aren't Burry. Most lose, fast and hard. The Quant Investor doesn't guess. They let computers and math run the show. They code algorithms that scan millions of data points, price, volume, news sentiment, even satellite photos of Walmart parking lots, then trade automatically when the edge appears. Think Renaissance Technologies Medallion Fund, which has averaged over 66% average annual return before fees, still around 39% after their massive fees, for decades, using pure quant magic. Building something like that? It takes PhDs in physics or math, years of research, terabytes of clean data, and millions in servers and fees. For 99.9% of regular people, it's impossible and insanely expensive. The real estate investor doesn't trust Wall Street's roller coaster. They buy actual buildings, houses, duplexes, apartments, or commercial strips, and make money in 2 ways. Renters pay the mortgage, and properties slowly rise in value. Leverage is their superpower. Put 20% down, let tenants pay off the other 80%. One good deal can beat 10 years of stock returns. Downside? Tenants trash places, interest rates spike, or a city dies overnight. It's not passive, it's a second job, until you have enough doors and hire a manager. Goldbug trusts only shiny metal, not governments or paper money. When chaos hits, gold is their bunker. But here's the painful truth. In 1980, gold traded around $670 an ounce. By 1999, it had sunk to roughly $256. That same ounce of gold had lost more than 60% of its nominal value. And after adjusting for inflation, over 80% of its real purchasing power was gone. While gold holders stood still, or worse, stocks surged more than 1,000%. 2 decades of watching everyone else get rich, while your so-called safe asset quietly melted away. Some investors keep a small slice in gold for diversification and peace of mind, then let stocks, real estate, and other assets do the rest for long-term growth. Then we have the crypto bro, who lives on Twitter, Discord, and 100 times leverage. Bitcoin is digital gold. Ethereum is the world computer, and every new coin is early. But here's the truth. Crypto is still a mostly unregulated Wild West. Exchanges can get hacked overnight, projects rug pull billions, founders disappear to Dubai, and if your coins vanish, poof, there's no insurance, no one to call. You're on your own. Still, Bitcoin is now more accepted by governments, ETFs, and even some countries as legal tender. The space is growing up. If you're curious, a tiny slice of your portfolio can be fun and give you upside. Just treat it like Vegas money you're totally okay losing. The ESG investor refuses to make money the dirty way. They only buy companies that treat the planet, people, and shareholders right. Environment, no oil spills or coal mines. Social, fair wages, diverse teams. And governance, no shady CEOs cooking the books. They love solar farms, electric cars, and brands that actually walk the talk. When the world went green crazy in 2020 to 2021, their funds crushed the market. When energy got cheap again in 2022 to 2023, they got crushed. Some do it because they genuinely want to change the world. Others just follow the trend. Either way, it's your money and your values. Just know that doing good and doing well don't always line up perfectly. Finally, we have the angel investor. This kind of investor is the one that writes personal checks to tiny startups before anyone else believes in them. Think putting 50Ks into Uber when it was just a black car app in San Francisco. One single win can return 100 times your money and pay for 20 losers. They love being the first money in, mentoring the team, and bragging at dinner parties. You need serious cash, thick skin, and a decade to wait. So there you have it, 15 different investor types. By now you've probably spotted yourself, or at least your cousin, in at least one of them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below which investor type describes you best. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.